Yes, my friends, welcome back. 5 stories to discuss today. We talk Mason Mount, as Liverpool and Arsenal are seen as the main favourites to sign Mount from us in this summer window. To move on, we have updates around Onana, Victor Osimhen, bad news for Badiashile, and we discuss another 18-year-old wonderkid striker we are hoping to sign. So right now, my friends, we have a ton of things to break down and discuss. I'm glad you guys are here to watch another news video, but before we continue on, I have one very special announcement to make. Today's video is sponsored by Chelsea's official betting partner in Parimatch UK. Parimatch are currently giving their Twitter followers the opportunity to win 3 tickets to a stadium tour of Stamford Bridge on Saturday the 3rd of June. Now this incredible experience includes a 60-minute tour of the stadium, access to the club museum, and an official photograph with the UEFA Champions League. So if this sounds very exciting to you, to be in with a chance of winning is very simple. All you have to do is follow at Parimatch UK on Twitter, and once you do so, make sure you retweet and reply with hashtag ParimatchCFC on the giveaway post, and make sure you guys do this before the deadline, which is this Thursday, the 25th of May, before 1 PM. Now my friends, all the links you're about to need are going to be in the description below, so make sure you guys get your entries in soon, yeah, before time goes up. So again, thank you to Parimatch UK for sponsoring today's video. So right now, let's get the bad news out of the way first, and Badiashile is set to be out for an extended period of time because he has aggravated an hamstring injury. Now these reports first came from the club's official website, and at the time, Benoit was actually misdiagnosed because it was believed that maybe this was like an aggravation with his groin, but after today seeing a specialist in the area, it was reported and confirmed that he had injured his hamstring instead. Now the bad news does continue because at this rate, Benoit is set to miss out on the entirety of pre-season under Pochettino. But I guess the only good news is that he doesn't need to get surgery for this injury. I guess with the timing of the injury coming right near the end of the season and with pre-season around the corner, he has plenty of time to heal naturally over the next few months. And this also confirms the fact that it's not as serious as it potentially could be if he needs to get surgery for that. So the time frame based on similar injuries like this with a similar diagnosis is between 8 to 10 weeks, which isn't too bad. But as we know, one man's pain is another man's gain, and this kind of works very beautifully now for Levi Colwill. Now he already knows that Pochettino is a big fan and wants to work with him. He knows that he'll be part of the first team squad for next season. And of course, at Brighton, they don't want him to leave. I mean, we all saw the video on social media with the Brighton fans persuading Cole to stay there for one more season. And De Zerbi's been very public, hoping that Cole can remain for one more season too. But the reality is simply this: now that Benoit is out the team, that's one less competition place in the team, and now that he has all of a pre-season to really just impress Pochettino and try and stamp that place in the team for next season. You know, this pre-season is one that he can't afford to miss out on, and it wouldn't make any sense now to go back to Brighton for another season. I think the guy has proven himself immaculately throughout the season. I was not surprised whatsoever. It's you know, I got the same feeling from Colwill when I saw guys like Reece James for the first time. When I saw Reece playing as a 16-year-old, I kind of knew that this guy was going right to the very top. And it's the same thing for Levi Colwill. And I think everyone's seen how incredible this guy is on the ball when it comes to playing out from the back. So again, hopefully Badiashile should be back during the start of the next season. Colwill has an opportunity now, and that is the first story out the way. So share your thoughts and opinions. And right now, let's move on with things. Now let's move on to story number 2, and we discuss the latest updates around Victor Osimhen, courtesy of Pletigol from Twitter, where he reports that Osimhen is still our #1 target. Of course, you'd imagine that if we can't get our #1 target, we're going to go down that shortlist to find the next best possible option, which could be the reality based on the conclusion of today's reports, because as we do know, De Laurentiis has placed a 110 million fee on Osimhen, with add-ons reported to be around 40 million euros, which makes this 150 million in total. Now that's around 130 million pounds, and for me that's a crazy amount of money. But if Pochettino saw Osimhen as his #1, I would get that, but the reality is simply this at this point in time. Before we sign any player, our strategy for next month is to sell guys. We need to sell guys to cut the squad down for pre-season. We have to sell guys to reduce the wage bill. And of course, we have to sell guys to buy more players to replace them. So we have this to deal with. And then on top of that, we don't have Champions League football to offer Osimhen. And I feel like if rivals were to put themselves in with a chance to try and sign him, could that work against us? Right now, this price for Osimhen is a ridiculous amount of money, but, based on his current market valuation, 24 years old, the guy isn't even in his prime years right now. He's currently valued at around 100 million euros. So for, De Laurentiis to ask for a bit more money isn't necessarily the worst thing he could do. But a part of me even feels like, from a responsibility point of view, is this the right move we should make? Now, I'm not saying that Osimhen isn't like a world-class striker. I won't be one of the top strikers for his generation. But I feel like with, our struggles in terms of even building like that attacking identity, I need to see some signs first of what type of team we're trying to be like. I feel like if you were to sign Osimhen for Pochettino, it definitely could work with Osimhen spearheading the attack, right? But then that's going to have questions for who supports him. Are we going to turn towards using attacking mids like Felix and then Nkunku? Are we going to use wingers like Sterling, Madueke, Mudryk as well too? There's so many possibilities, and I kind of feel like, we keep screwing ourselves over at this football club because we constantly buy these sexy names, the guy who scored the most goals, and we never really think about how the striker is supposed to complement his teammates and the way we're trying to play. And I feel like that is the most important thing, because Osimhen can definitely work here, but I need to hope that the strategy to get the best out of his entire game is going to be a thing we turn to. Otherwise, I hope this doesn't end up being like another Lukaku situation where we've signed a top striker, but then the system doesn't support the guy's best game. Time will tell, but a part of me kind of feels like getting Osimhen might be that signing that's out of our reach for this window. Maybe for the following season, like for the 24-25 season, it could be a different story, because I'm not expecting too many clubs to have that type of money for Osimhen this window. But time will tell, and let's see if De Laurentiis can drop his demands, which I think he'll have to do. So, my friends, let's now move on to the third report, and let's talk Mason Mount, because these reports keep intensifying that this most likely could be Mount's final season at our club. And if that was the case, for me, I think that would be incredibly disappointing. But before I even give some of my thoughts and opinions, let's discuss reports and interesting stories. Liverpool reports keep suggesting that, Mount is seen as one of the prime candidates, even though reports are also saying that they're close now to signing McAllister from Brighton. Now, Liverpool could sign both for their midfields. Originally they planned to invest all that money into signing Jude Bellingham, but after being rejected and with the fee being way too much as well too, it looks like they're deciding to buy more players for the sum of what Bellingham was worth. So I think Mount, McAllister, who knows what happens with that. But Liverpool may have rivals now in Arsenal, who are also planning now to really strengthen their team even more. We know that they're one of the favourites at this point in time to sign Declan Rice from West Ham. I'm seeing quotes of around 70 million. I'm thinking to myself, do we get a special price because we're Chelsea and other clubs get different prices? I wouldn't be surprised by that. But it seems like Arsenal's plan is to have Rice as their new DM, with Mason Mount potentially replacing Xhaka as the number 8 down that left-hand side. And I kind of feel like if I see Arsenal making moves like that, and if they actually pull this off, wow, they're going to have an incredibly strong and balanced midfield three. Rice, one of the top DMs in the world at his age, easily in Europe. I don't know why he gets certain stick. I just can't, I understand the criticism, but I just don't think it applies to these new generation of English guys. Listen, I used to say the same stuff when I was younger myself, but I just think times are different now, and I feel like Rice and Mount in particular get a lot of very unfair judgment. It's like people misprofile these guys. They make them sound like they're a lot more basic in English and lack tons of technical qualities, which just, the stats don't even reflect that. The eye test doesn't reflect that. I've never really understood that. And for me, if other clubs are looking at Mount as a guy to revamp their midfields, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell are we doing? And we know that Pochettino still needs to have his final proper words with Mason Mount. That Mount ideally would prefer to stay. For me, I think it's up to the club right now to find the right offer for Mason. I do think that it's important to have a guy that has a proper connection with this football club because he has been here for a long time. This is the same thing for all the guys that have spent a lot of time, climbing up the ranks through Cobham. I feel like when new guys come here, it's your guys like Mason and Reese and then Colwell and all these guys that's going to really tell them what our football club is about. That's how it works. And I feel like if we're going to, sell these types of like fundamental parts of the team, like what message is that really sending? I could probably sympathize with Mason Mount. I don't know why negotiations have taken this long. Some reports have suggested that we only offered him like a 1-year extension just to keep his value up for another season, which I don't think would be the right thing to do for a player like Mount, especially for the things he has done. And I don't know, I just feel like Mount just is mislabeled completely. I think he's seen as someone that he isn't. And I feel like the stuff around Mount is quite frustrating because I'm always going to feel like you guys are just mislabeling him. You don't really understand what he's about. Like, this is a guy that can play in how many different roles and positions in a team. That type of tactical flexibility that you get from that is unreal. And the guy is a super team player. He's constantly an outlet to help move that ball forwards. His work off the ball and then on the ball too. His set pieces, his striking technique, that ability to speed up the play instantly, take out guys between the lines, the half-turn touches, his general composure, just the quality that he shows. I just don't really get it. And I'm a guy that really likes my technical guys. You guys know that you've been watching me for a long time. So I feel like Mount's constantly tick those boxes. And for a guy that hasn't even been playing in his best position as an 8, playing further forward as an attacking mids, he's been outperforming guys that cost way more money and have done a lot less. And to think that it's a big struggle for him to get a contract that reflects his value, I don't think that's right. So let's hope that Pochettino's influence can really help things out right now. I feel like we wouldn't be a stronger team if Mount was missing. And to think that he could leave us to strengthen a domestic rival, he's not going down another level. You've got Bayern, you've got Liverpool, United, Arsenal. All these clubs don't know what they're doing. It doesn't make any sense. And let's hope that Todd Bowley doesn't do one of the biggest fumbles of his, recent time as our owner. So they're my thoughts and opinions. Share yours. How do you feel about it? And right now, let's end things with the final stories. And now we talk one of the interesting prospects of this year's Under-20 World Cup. And that is Gambian 18-year-old striker in Adama Bojang. Now, this report came out from the Daily Mail. Very interesting. And currently, Bojang has scored 2 goals in this year's Under-20 World Cup, scoring twice against Honduras. And of course, we are heavily scouting this tournament. Every big club in Europe is heavily scouting this tournament to sign the next best thing. And in the case of Adama Bojang, we have been following him since before this World Cup. We first got our eyes on him during the Under-20 AFCON tournament, where he scored 4 goals and made it in the team of the tournament. Now, some of you guys might be thinking, Nini, are we seriously looking to sign another team striker? How many do we need? Where's the pathways for these guys to even do anything at this football club? I get it, but I think we have to realize this. When clubs sign players, it's not always for the benefit of the first team. Sometimes you're signing players to make money. You're signing them for investments. And the thing that would stop Bojang from even representing us right now is that he'd probably fail when it comes to getting the work permit because he really has no points at all that we could secure him on. So the reality would be this. If he was signed, he'd be one of the new guys, of course, that would be spearheading our new multi-club network approach for next season. As we know, Parimatch from the Portuguese league, Strasbourg from France. These are the 2 clubs we're hoping to acquire, and I hope we do this quite soon because I think with all the young talent and players we have right now, if we can put them in a safe and just environment in which we own stake in these clubs, where there is a real incentive to give them minutes to actually use them, this could be something that we've never really had that could really put us on even more. If our top young prospects are getting first team exposure from their teen years, by the time they're 21, 22, you could be earning tons of money from their sales to reinvest back in the team. You could be earning more from loan fees for certain guys. You could have backup guys in your first team. You could even find one star that becomes a proper first team player. There are the options that open up, and I do kind of feel like we've been way behind something which we used to be on top of back in the days. So This type of news is good for me, and I'll be very curious to see the type of talents that we look to sign to take advantage of this multi-club network. So that is one of the other stories out the way first. Of course, things are cooking up in terms of signing talents to build this like scouting infrastructure and network we're looking to do. And my friends, let's now end things by discussing the latest updates around Andre Onana. Now, based on all the current reports coming out from Italy, it does seem like Onana now is by far the preferred target we want to sign as our new goalkeeper for next season. Now, currently, it seems like Edmar Mendy most definitely is leaving. One of the reasons behind why is that he's actually attracting a ton of interest, and that's because his wages are so low. Now, he wanted to get a contract here of over 150k a week, which would have been fair and fine in context, but I think now that he's lost his place and now that a new manager wants a new goalkeeper, his leverage has really kind of spiraled downwards at this point in time, sadly, and he is set to be leaving us. But currently getting back to things, but also exploring the opportunity to exchange players, names like Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Mateo Kovacic, Trevor Chalobah. These are players that Inter Milan have shown historic interest in. And what's interesting based on these reports is that they do imply that Inter Milan could be very open now to doing player exchanges plus money for Andre Onana, which would work absolutely amazing in our favour. Inter are already looking at a replacement in Vicario for Onana, and currently all we know from these reports is that we are still actively holding discussions over the economics in terms of signing Onana for us. Currently, reports state that we are still exploring all the economics when it comes to signing Andre Onana. Now, personally, you guys know I'm very happy with this news. I feel like we've never really seen a profile of this goalkeeper, probably since Cudicini back in the day. And that's a goalkeeper that is very comfortable playing out from the back, that can add something to our attack with the passing range, that composure, that ability to comfortably play outside your box where you become another passing option. That could allow us to really suffocate the opponents up the field, knowing that we have a goalkeeper we can trust to maintain the ball by himself, that has 2 feet to play out as well too, and of course can kickstart attacks from deep. It reminds me of the story during the World Cup where Onana got kicked out from the Cameroon squad because the manager in Rigobert Song asked Onana to change his game because he didn't really like it. And it's funny because I was obviously at the World Cup. I was there for Cameroon's first game against, I can't forget right now. And I was really impressed by Onana's performance in terms of how he was able to, really just engage up the field and how he made Cameroon play out from the back a lot better. So when Song basically kicked him out after, Onana rightfully was going to disagree with that manager's stupid conclusion. Like, this is one of the top sweeper keepers in Europe, and you want to tell one of the best guys who's now a Champions League finalist, who's one of the top keepers in Europe, and one of the best sweeper keepers in his position too, that his game isn't good enough and it should change. Listen, that's not an Onana problem, yeah? And to be honest with you, all those qualities that got dismissed, I would happily take at this football club. We thought Kepa was that sweeper keeper. Absolute fugazi. Now we could be really signing a real one. And I think Onana is definitely the right profile now, because this is a guy that's got his education from some of the best youth academies in the world. I mean, to start off at La Masia, and then you're getting your first team exposure for Ajax, then you're playing for Inter Milan in a different league. I mean, I think he's in his prime right now, and I think he has the history to back up his game. So my guys, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. Thank you for watching. I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lines TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.